I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, November the 22nd. Thanksgiving is upon us. We've got some thanks to give for the fall rally that nobody really saw coming, that really got the majority of your calf sellers to get a really nice price for their calves. It's tailed off a little bit right now, but it's still not too bad in the whole scheme of things. We got Thanksgiving for the fat trade that's already mostly happened this week. That's not as bad as what it could have been, and maybe your packers were kind of in a festive spirit and a holiday mood and decided, well, probably not. They probably needed the cattle, but still, it was a pretty good market for the way things are this week on a short week. And another thing we've got Thanksgiving for is an opportunity to make a public comment on this ELD enforcement for our ag truckers. We'll talk about all that here in just a minute. But look at the board on Tuesday. February live cattle up $1.02, so that was good. That's the biggest up we've had for a while. Ending the day at 124.05. December live cattle spot market up 87 cents to end the day at 117.97. Right in there tight with what your cash market is going to be for this week. January feeder cattle up 207 to end the day on Tuesday at 151.62. Like I said, our fat trade actually started out on Monday. When's the last time we saw Monday fat cattle trade? But they had about 10,000 head that sold on Monday in the 5-area feeding region. Even though it's a short week, that's a pretty good indicator that these packers were a little bit worried, not about this week, but about next week following the holiday, getting enough cattle to hang on the hooks and not get into a bind on that post-holiday trade. But they bought some cattle at $1.18 and $1.88, which would be you know, steady to weak, maybe steady to $1 or $2 lower dressed, and $1 lower on a live basis. But then continued that on Tuesday with significant trade in the Southern Plains, Texas and Kansas at 118, only $1 lower, and that's not too bad for the way things have been, because the board was down hard. We had a kind of a bearish cattle on feed report that didn't really shake up the market. I think it's just supply and demand, but we're on a down market, and for the packers to come out and give that that quick in the week, even on a short holiday week, it's a positive sign. Northern Plains traded most of their live sales, not as many, on Tuesday at 120, so that's in there pretty close to steady to the top side. So not too bad all in all. Box beef cutout values were higher on Tuesday. Choice carcasses settled at 208.63, up 245. Selects at 188.65, up 60 cents. I want to talk a little bit about this ELD deal on these ag truckers, and for this report specifically your livestock haulers. But the agency involved is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and they did grant a 90-day delay from the December 18th enforcement of ELDs, which is electronic logging device on all big trucks going up and down the road for our ag transporters. But it's your opportunity right now, guys. If this is something you feel strongly about, you've got an opportunity to make a public comment between now and November 30th. And don't shrug that off and think you can't do it. If you can get through the gears in a big truck, or if you're interested in that, you can get to a website to get on there to make a public comment and give them your personal story. Tell them how important it is that we make some exceptions for these ag truckers, because you're just dealing with a whole different type of transportation of product. When you're hauling boxes of widgets or whatever, you know, that's fine to have just a certain amount of hours you can be on the road, but a lot of that includes loading and unloading and things like that. When you're hauling livestock, you don't have control of the situation at all times. Because if you're waiting in line to load cattle, you get a handful of wild cattle or sold up cattle that won't load, you're wasting valuable time right there. You can't just pull over to a rest stop area and get off the clock because if you've got cattle on, depending on what the weather is, those cattle are going to shrink. If it's too hot, you've got to keep air on those cattle. You can't just let them sit. Cattle can get asphyxiated just from the exhaust of an idling truck, and you just can't do it. And it's not always, truckers don't always have the ability to offload those cattle. When you offload those cattle, you got another chance for them to break a leg or hurt themselves in some other way. We don't have enough feed, water, rest places to service everything that you would need. It's really going to hurt the interstate commerce, I think, especially in the southeast, where the majority of those calves are bought on order, go into a shippers' pens, sorted up, and put on the road for you know, at least 10 hours in most cases, and they won't be able to do that. So what's that going to do to the market in the southeast? You got fat cattle. You definitely can't be messing around with fat cattle, unloading them and loading them back up, and you'll kill them. You just can't do that, and it's going to really hurt the market. Say if we need to move some fats from one area of the 5 areas to another because they're a little short on kill like they have always done, you won't be able to do that. It's just a really, really important thing. Get online. You can go to www.regulations.gov. You can look it up in there. If you need more information, you can go to the LMA, Livestock Marketing Association's website, and find out more information there. But don't let that go. You've got some downtime here over Thanksgiving. Go to your computer and make a public comment. It's very, very important, and those things do make a difference in there. Because right now they're just giving a 90-day delay for the ag truckers to get familiar with what they need to do. But if they get a big enough public comment, it could cause them to make a few changes and some exceptions for our ag truckers, and we sure need to get that done. But you look at your feeder markets on Tuesday, real-time index on Beef Market Central there based on the 800-pound steer settled in there late Tuesday at 151.77, down 43 cents from the roundup of Monday sales. But you look at your big sales on Tuesday, Phillips, South Dakota, 5,200 head, and that was a real light run for them. They didn't even break a sweat on 5,200 after the sales they've been having this fall. But didn't have a big feeder sale last week, so compared to 2 weeks ago, most of the calves sold from week to $6 lower. You look at the report on Cattle Market Central, automated report there, you see the popular weights of steers for the 5 and 6 weights, but nearly 1,100 head of 5-weight steers, average 554 at 177.99, and on the 6 weights just about the same amount there, 1,066 head, average 640 at 168.48. Look at a more of a southern type market. Ozarks Regional Stockyards in West Plains, Missouri had a lighter run too, 1,850 head. The lighter peewee steers, like we've been seeing that down in the southern plains and areas, just a lot of demand and options on those lightweight steers, sold steady to $3 higher. Other calves, bigger steers and heifer calves from $2 to $8 lower. You look at an individual quote out of that Phillips, South Dakota sale there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, had 94 head of 527-pound steers, bring 193. That's about like it was before we dipped off from that rally we had earlier this fall. But hope all of you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Not going to be a lot to talk about, so we won't have any more feeder flashes for the balance of this week, but we'll be right back in here at the beginning of next week, and everybody have a good holiday.